This Sea Ray has sat on the market for 311 days. In that time, the price has dropped 4 times, from $89,000 down to $59, and the phone still hasn't rung once. Nothing is wrong with her. Twin gas V8s, strong compression, a clean survey already sitting in the file, and not one buyer in 10 months would touch her because every one of them was trained to fear the exact thing that made her cheap. 311 days, and every buyer who scrolled past her did the very same thing, saw 2 aging gas engines and kept right on moving. Not one of them lost a dime. The seller's the one bleeding. But every one of them talked himself out of a sound boat over a fear he was handed, not a fear he earned. And the man who handed it to him is standing 2 docks down in the new boat showroom. Because a buyer frightened of an old engine is a buyer walking straight toward a brand new hull with a payment book and a fresh warranty. The showroom's answer to a tired exhaust riser is a $200,000 boat with sealed pod drives and a joystick, financed over 20 years, a cure 10 times worse than the disease. Fear of the engine is the best salesman that showrooms got. And the Express Cruiser is the boat it works on hardest, because these boats run gas V8s, and gas V8s carry a reputation that runs a good 20 years ahead of the truth. So today we're walking 5 used Express Cruisers that have no business selling for what they're selling for. Good hulls, sound interiors, boats priced like they're disposable because the market's terrified of the lump of iron bolted to the floor, the one part on the whole boat that's the cheapest to fix and the easiest on the planet to replace. By the end, you'll know exactly why that scary number never actually shows up, and which 5 of these I'd go hunt down first. First, where the market sits right now, because the timing is the whole reason these prices exist. In 2026, the boat business flipped. The manufacturers' own association and the retail groups both say it flat out. It's a buyer's market now, the first honest one in years. New powerboat sales fell 8 to 10% last year. Cruisers and the bigger boats are stacking up on brokers' docks. Inventory building, prices going soft, and used boats across the board are moving 20 to 40% under what they peaked at 3 years back. Brokers will tell you 1/3 of the boats listed this year won't sell at all, not even after the seller cuts the number twice. Loans are sitting near 7%, so the financed buyer who used to bid these things up has gone quiet. Aspirational pricing is dead. The boat sits, or the price comes down. Now set a gas engine on top of all that. A soft market already has the seller nervous. Then a surveyor or a dockside mechanic says the risers are due, or the hours are getting up there, or she'll want a top-end job one of these years, and the seller folds like a cheap lawn chair. He's been staring at that dock for 4 months. He just wants out. So he prices the entire boat off the worst thing anybody's ever said about the engine. And that gap right there is the one you back your trailer into. The fear is real. The repair almost never is. Number 5, and we start at the very bottom of the price sheet, the Wellcraft Martinique 3200, 32 feet, solid hand-laid glass, twin small block gas inboards, and you'll find a running one anywhere from $16,000 to the high 30s. A boat that sleeps 6 and stands up down below, asking $16,000. Read that twice. Now watch what scares folks off her. Those engines are Chevy 350S wearing a marine dress, the same block that pushed 1 million pickups down the interstate. The exhaust risers rot, and on a raw water boat they will, so a yard writes up a frightening quote and the buyer bolts. But nobody ever stops to do the arithmetic. Manifolds and risers for one of these run a couple $1,000s in parts, and a man with a socket set does the job in his own driveway on a Saturday. Even a whole engine, tired right down to the block, is a $2,500 long block off the shelf and a weekend to swap in. The entire power plant costs less than the first year of depreciation on a new bowrider. Want the bigger 454s in her instead of the 350s? Same truck engine story, same shelf full of parts, and usually another few thousand off the price for the fuel nobody wants to burn. Wellcraft quit building the Martinique a long time ago, so there's no showroom pushing a shiny replacement and nobody left to talk her up, and that silence is a good part of why she's this cheap. Number 4, the Rinker 342 Fiesta V, and now I have to stop and defend a boat, because this is the one everybody's been trained to sneer at. Rinker built to a price, and the dock experts say it the same way every time. Cheap boat, throwaway boat, tin can. I've had them apart. It isn't true. The glass is honest. The layout's smarter than boats twice the money. And the twin 350 mags or the Volvo gassers in her are the same bulletproof truck iron everybody else was bolting in. You'll see a clean 342 from around 38,000 and a loaded late one still under 85. Against a new 34-foot cruiser, she's a quarter of the money, maybe less. And the sneer is the whole opportunity. Every fella who repeats cheap boat without ever once turning a wrench on one is a fella bidding against nobody. And that keeps the price on the floor for the buyer who actually looked. A rinker with fresh risers, honest compression, and a service binder is not a throwaway. It's the best dollar-for-dollar cruiser on this list, wearing a reputation it quit earning 2 decades ago. The salesman loves that reputation. It walks good people right past a sound boat and up onto his lot. We're into the top 3 now, and this is where the value gets almost silly. If the channel's earned it, take a second and tap that like button. It's the whole reason these videos keep landing in front of people who are about to overpay for the wrong boat. Subscribe if you want the rest of them because I put a new one out every week. All right, number 3. Number 3, the Larson Cabrio 330. 32 feet, deep V, solid glass stringers, 6'5" of headroom down below, and a cabin that shames boats a size up on her. Twin 5.7-liter gassers, freshwater examples all over the Great Lakes, and the average one changes hands right around $48,000. Clean ones start in the 20s. Here's what put her there, and it's got nothing to do with the boat. Larson's gone. The company folded. The Cabrio line died with it, and the day a builder goes dark, every buyer who steps aboard gets nervous about parts. Fair enough. For the hull trim and the oddball plastic bits, you'll hunt around a little. But the engine doesn't care one bit who built the boat wrapped around it. It's a Chevy small block. Every part that keeps it breathing sits on a shelf in every town in America, and it'll outlive the man who's scared of it. That is not a boat with a dead builder problem. That's a good hull the market marked down for a reason that stops cold at the engine hatch. On a simple gas cruiser, an orphan brand isn't a curse. It's a discount somebody else was too spooked to collect. That right there, knowing when needs risers means one Saturday and when it means walk away, is the exact thing that separates the buyer who steals a good boat from the one who gets stolen from. It's why I put the whole engine read into the playbook, the cheat sheet on which motors to hunt and which to fear, the walkthrough you do yourself before you ever pay a surveyor a dime, and the questions that make a seller tell you the truth about those engines. It's a small number up front, so the big one never ambushes you at the dock. Links in the description, and there's a QR code on screen if you'd rather scan it. Work it out on your own, and everything I just said still holds. Number 2, the Four Winds 328 Vista. And this is the one the people who actually know boats buy quietly while everybody else argues about brand names. Four Winds built these properly. Thick glass, good hardware, a cockpit, and a cabin that just plain work. Twin 5.7 Volvos or Crusaders, low 20s cruise. And the average asking sights right around 50,000, with sound ones dipping under 30. Against what she cost new, that's a boat shedding 3/4 of her price for the crime of getting older. Some wear twin Volvo duo prop out drives, some the inboard V drives. Either way, it's a Chevy small block turning the wheel. And either way, the parts are a phone call and a shelf, not a dealer and a 3-week wait. The freshwater ones are the real prize. A 328 that spent its whole life on an inland lake, pulled and shrink-wrapped every winter, never saw a grain of salt, and it's asking the same money as a tired coastal boat because most buyers can't tell the two apart and the seller can't prove the difference. You can. Pull the logbook, read the oil analysis, put your eyes on the risers. Freshwater risers last 2-3 times as long as salt ones. So on an inland boat, that scary quote is often years off yet. A freshwater 328 with clean compression is about as much honest boat as $50,000 buys anywhere on the water, and the only reason it's priced that low is that the man across the desk keeps steering everybody towards something newer with a warranty stapled to it. And number 1, the boat that has no business being this cheap more than any other on this list, the Sea Ray 340 Sundancer, the most recognizable express cruiser ever built from the biggest name on the water. And you can buy a sound 2000s one for the price of a well-optioned pickup. $60,000–$70,000 for a boat that stickered north of $250,000. The older ones out of the 80s, still solid under you, trade hands down in the teens. Sea Ray built the 340 like they were mad at the ocean. Heavy glass, deep V, room for 6 to sleep and 8 to ride along. The knock on her is always the same. Big gas V8s, the 4.54s and the 8.1-liter Horizons. And everybody's scared of what they drink and what they'll cost. Drink, sure. You'll pay at the fuel dock the days you run her hard, and I won't pretend otherwise. But cost to keep alive? It's the same story as every boat on this list, only louder. The 8.1-liter Horizon is a big block loafing along at a fraction of what it can make. Run her easy and she barely knows she's working. It's a truck engine. Parts everywhere, mechanics in every marina, a rebuild you can watch a man knock out over a weekend. You're buying the best-known cruiser on the water, built like a bank vault, for cabin cruiser money. And the only thing standing between you and her is a fear the salesman planted and the market never once bothered to check. What I'd buy with my own money? 2 of them. First, the freshwater Four Winds 328, the inland lake boat with the covered slip life and the binder full of records. It's the most honest $50,000 boat on the list, and the one least likely to surprise me on a Sunday. Second, and this is the one I'd actually go get, a Sea Ray 340 in the low 60s, the neglected-looking one with tired risers and good compression, the boat everybody else scrolled right past. I'd hand the seller his scared number, spend one weekend and $2,000 on the exhaust, and run the best-built cruiser on the water for a third of what the man on the new boat lot wants me to finance. Every one of these 5 is cheap for the exact same reason. Somebody got scared of an engine a truck mechanic would laugh at. Learn to read that engine and the fear other people run from turns into the discount you drive home. The scared money leaves the good boat sitting right there on the dock. Don't be the scared money. Go put your hand on the block and find out for yourself.